Lost a tough one to these guys last time. It was a game, and watching it, that I don't think it was a thing of beauty by either team, but they made a play, got an offensive rebound, and a unique game for us. We didn't make a three, but we got to the foul line. We did some things that were positive. So rematch. Coming off the Purdue game, in which I loved the first half. I loved how we played. I think that's the way you kind of have to grind it on the road. We got offensive rebounds. We turned them over, took them out of what they wanted. We had 4 or 5 mistakes just in transition that you can't make, that I didn't like. But first minute and a half, 2 minutes of the second half was 3 straight mistakes that led to a big run, and then you play catch up. We get it tied at 48 all, and to be honest, we just couldn't make a shot. And give Purdue credit for that. And I felt like we guarded Carson pretty well. We only got 14 shot attempts. We did what we wanted to do in the standpoint of keeping certain guys off the glass, but a night when Georgie was in foul trouble, Adonis's knee was bothering him, so we didn't have a lot of size to guard Harms, and he was really effective. So, but a day off on Monday, or when we play Wednesday, I'm so confused in my days. Thursday. I have no idea what day of the week it is. So it's Saturday, and anyway, so we had a day off after that game, and then obviously a couple days of practice to prepare for Northwestern and a team that beat us in the first one.
Brad, I know that locker room after the Northwestern game was hurting pretty bad, and that's kind of maybe the most I've seen them down like that. Do you feel like that game was a turning point where maybe the guys kind of put their foot down and said we're better than maybe how we've been playing before this?
Well, we didn't play very good in that game, and that's not to take anything away from Northwestern. I mean, it's I think that's one of the things that's been enlightening, is to go back and the second time we prepare for some of these teams, to see how bad we were the first time we played them, and how much we've improved in certain areas. But it always makes you feel good when your locker room is emotional both ways. And we were after that game. And, I think we'll look back on that and grow from it. And like I said many times, you have to go through some of those things and get beat on a last-second shot, and whatever it is, and you have to go through some of those and to toughen up and sharpen up, and maybe that was. We'll reflect back a little more when this is over and at the end of the year, but we're playing better basketball now.
Adonis had one of his better games against Northwestern the last time out. What worked for him that game, and do you expect more of that from him tomorrow?
Yeah, I hope so. He was back in practice yesterday, so it's nice to see him back. He was effective. He got the ball in the block. He was really overpowering. He split a couple double teams. Actually made a couple good passes that we didn't finish in a game that Georgie picked up a couple early, and gave us a real boost. And Adonis is capable of that, and hopefully that occurs again tomorrow.
I mean, in the almost 2 months since you played Northwestern, have they changed any that you've seen, or are they doing things differently?
They've changed a lot. They've completely revamped their lineup. They're starting Falzon, who's an elite. Didn't play in the first game. Really quick trigger, elite four-man with size. The Turner, who started in the first game, has been coming off the bench. They've been starting Benson and Pardon together, so they're playing really, really big. Law at the point at 6'7", 6'8", and that front line has got length and size, and it's added some depth. They're starting Gaines as well. Gaines had a terrific game against us in game one, and so it's a big physical, very dialed in team defensively, and and it's probably added some depth to them in terms of being able to handle the perimeter. So with some depth, but they're a different team as well.
Stat standpoint, you guys were able to hold Law and Pardon in check a little bit in that first game. What was the key to that, and how do you replicate that again?
Well, I think again it's got to have really good ball pressure, and I think it's it was kind of give and take. We did a good job on Law, and we let Gaines get loose, and really a young man who had struggled up into that point and really kind of got his head up, and he's been playing terrific since. But we got to make his touches hard, and we can't let him get to his spots. They ran into a lot of post-ups against us. We've got to be very, very effective with that. We've got to do a great job with Pardon, not giving him second-chance opportunities on the offensive glass, not fouling him. And then, you got to make him shoot over you. You can't give him angles, and he got Georgie in foul trouble, so it was something we've definitely got to be dialed into.
You mentioned kind of looking back at opponents you're going to play again and noticing maybe how bad you were. What's maybe the most stark thing that stands out to you that you see has been improved in going into round two?
Well, at that time we were turning the ball over at just an excruciating clip. And we really had not established much of an interior presence. I think those are the two glaring things. Is we were. It was a unique game in the fact that we'd been shooting the ball pretty well early in the season, and in that game we did not. But our turnovers had been and they reared their ugly head in that game at different times. But I think we were still searching for an identity. We were still searching for a role. Our inside presence was not great at that point in terms of going to Georgie. We were relying on Trent and Io a great deal. But, just the simple things. Defensively, we're much better, I think, in terms of not making mistakes as often. So I think we're better on both ends.
Brad, you mentioned the term rematch in your opening statement. You've had some success against teams the second time after they were able to get you the first one. Is that something that you guys have talked about at all this week?
Well, I hope we're doing a better job as a coaching staff preparing our guys, and we see tendencies, and I think there's to be expected a little bit with a new team that they have a comfort zone with their opponent, with the scouting part of it. It's not all, brand new. They know what they're going to get now in Northwestern, like a veteran team would. I think it's been a combination of a lot of things.
As bunched up as the Big Ten standings, kind of continue to be, with 3 games left against teams that, they've beaten you once, and how important is maybe getting some wins here and avoiding, Wednesday of the Big Ten tournament, or is that something that you think about?
I haven't thought about it. I couldn't even tell you. I seriously, when I tell you this, have not looked one time all year at the Big Ten standings. And it's game by game. When all 20 of them are played, I'll look, see where we're at. We want to win, sure, absolutely. We want to try to build some momentum going into that thing. I think this league has proven one thing. Chicago is going to be a fun Big Ten tournament, and it could be shocking. Anybody can beat anybody. So you want to be playing your best. You want to have some momentum. You want to be healthy. The fewer games you play just makes sense, the better your odds.
Coach, last year the Big Ten tournament ended for you guys the 28th of February. It's your first coaching Illinois into March. Is there anything about this month, the whole March Madness, that makes these games feel a little bit more up for them?
Well, it's what we play for, is playing in March and beyond. And, I think it gets to be an exciting time of year. I think there's no doubt that the season's a long grind. You're you're still in it with 3 games in the regular season, but it's it gets to be a grind, and we've had a kind of an up and down Big Ten season in terms of some different things, but we've really improved and grown, and I think we're it didn't show in the second half of Purdue, but our last 3, Penn State's a terrific basketball team, and I think we're better, and we continue to get better, and I'm excited for what the future holds.
Brad, how different is your late game execution this time around? It's a shot clock violation and maybe that bobbled handoff at the end of the last visit. How different are you guys from that aspect?
I hope a lot, because we've practiced a little more. We had shot clock violation, which we had Kipper turn down a wide open 3, and then we have a last second play on the sideline out that is wide open, and Trent was just premature in going. He ran into Io, who was to come off the handoff first, and the play was to go to Io, and so I think we've cleaned some of those things up, and but yeah, it's those are things you can't do it, especially on the road, and win.
As you look back at the Purdue game, how did you maybe evaluate Trent coming off the bench? Is then maybe a different role for him?
Mixed bag. I don't think Trent was bad. I didn't think Dre was great. Was kind of just trying to search for a different awareness, maybe, and a different feel on the road, wasn't. It's kind of a mixed bag. Trent was okay. Dre was okay. It wasn't great, but kind of a flat line. Give it a grade of a C, average move. Thanks, guys.